Thank you so much for chatting with me. I'm such a big fan. This is awesome.
Yay.
Um, to start off, I wanted to ask, as a champion of authors through your podcast and publishing house, what is one lesson from the literary world that shaped your own writing?
A lesson from the literary world that shaped my own writing is that rejection is just part of the process. So I know that didn't shape what the content of my writing is, but I learned so much from sitting right here at this desk and talking to authors like Mitch Albom, who told me that his book, Tuesdays with Morrie, had been rejected 50 plus times, and realizing that if all those amazing authors could push through it and withstand all those rejections and have the courage to do so, then I could do it myself.
Wow, amazing. And then kind of with that, what role does Zibby Media play, like fill in such a big and ever-changing media market?
I started Zibby Media because after talking to so many authors, I've now interviewed 2,100 authors on Totally Booked with Zibby. I learned a lot about the publishing industry. I came at it as an outsider. I had tried to get into it since, I don't know, the early 2000s. But because I came at it from an author standpoint, when I learned about the author's experience and how authors were treated and how disappointed so many of them were when they finally got to this exalted finish line and then didn't feel supported by the publishing houses. And I don't mean to disparage anyone in publishing. I think people in publishing are generally very, very nice and hardworking and awesome, but structurally, the way a lot of the houses were set up didn't allow for promotion of all the authors. And unless you were a huge front list author, you might not get a Tory. You might not get any sort of marketing help or publicity help. And so your book is almost like dead on arrival. You can tell ahead of time which books will mostly make it. And I didn't feel like that was fair. I felt like a lot of the books that weren't getting a lot of support were truly amazing. And could there be a universe in which discovery of titles worked a little bit differently and the author experience worked a little bit differently? So yes, there are many publishing houses, there are many bookstores, there are many podcasts. I'm at the intersection of all of those things, and all of it is through my lens of someone who loves authors and who knows what it's like to try to be an author. And now I actually am an author myself, so I guess that's the fourth rung in that. But I think our platform is the place where it's all about the authors. It's all about helping readers find the books that are right for them, increasing discovery, and helping bring people together over the books that matter. And that's less transactional and more about community.
That's amazing. I feel like from an outside perspective, we would never know any of that. Um, so now kind of moving on, college students like myself and my peers spend most of their time on social media and reading habits are changing. What's your approach to that?
Oh my gosh, I just spent this morning, like until right now, posting clips. I'm trying to adapt. For instance, I just did a 21 episode live show that I had professionally recorded so that I can A, put it up in its entirety as a show, but B, so that I have clips for Instagram of
Yeah.
the authors talking about their book, because that is the way that people are consuming media. And, my husband was like talking to a friend about some podcast they both watched, and none of them, they didn't actually listen to the podcast anymore. They were just following the account with clips from the podcast. So I've had to adapt. This is an example of adapting. I can take my podcast from my desk and from my living room and move it to a stage and make high quality clips if that is what the market is moving towards. That means I have to do it, right? So I can't get left behind. If you keep doing the same thing all the time, you will get left behind because the world will always keep moving around you. So if you're just doing the same thing over and over again, you're probably missing something. So that's my approach really to everything. I think with reading, one easy way is to stop any sort of guilt related to what people read. Is it literary enough? Is it an ebook versus an audiobook versus a graphic novel. It doesn't matter. I just interviewed Judy Bloom as part of the Stryker Center event in front of 850 people. It was amazing. And she said the greatest gift her parents ever gave her was the freedom to read anything she wanted. And so I think that is one of the key things for encouraging reading. I also think making authors real. I mean, this is the whole hypothesis of my organization. And the more I think, the more you get to know an author and you feel a vested interest in that person and their life and their work, it imbues extra meaning in the work itself. And you're more likely to root for the author. You're more likely to consume it when you have a little bit more background information. So I think getting to know authors, following authors on Instagram, making books real, current. They're not dusty relics. Books are the best guides we have to the world. Like I still don't have older siblings. To get through the world, I read. I am still reading. Now I'm reading about aging because I'm like, all right, that's coming next. What do you got for me, world? So for me, books are the ultimate escape. They're also the easiest to get into. You don't have to go to a yoga class. You don't have to go do any of these exotic experiences to combat anxiety or any of that. You open a book, you're in a new world. You don't even have to go anywhere. It's magic. So I think reminding people of the magic of reading, the magic of being transported, the empathy that grows as a result. And yes, of course, there are the benefits, the cognitive benefits, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I think to get people to do anything, you have to show them what an amazing experience it is and feed them the right books at the right time.
Now, moving on, I have a few questions about your book on being Jewish now. So the book's title suggests both a timeliness and urgency. What does being Jewish now mean to you in this cultural moment?
I put On Being Jewish Now, the anthology, together because I had been speaking out on behalf of the Jewish people since October 7th and before, but feeling like my one voice was not ever going to be heard above the loud shouts of Jew hatred. And I thought that perhaps if I teamed up with many other people, our collective voice would rise. And fortunately, it has now been on the bestseller list for 20 weeks, which is so crazy. I can't believe it. To me, that is what being Jewish is now. It is finding ways to showcase Jewish values. For instance, collaborating, celebrating the joy, being proud of who we are, coming together, and being advocates for our people. And I do that through words and books and stories, which of course are stories are one of the most fundamental ways people can connect and have since the dawn of time. But I think being Jewish now means being creative, being able to adapt, being aware, being educated about the issues, both politically and historically, but also from your peers. It's to be empathetic, it's to be curious, it's to be always looking for the next way and to be brave. I mean, you have to feel confident that you can speak out because speaking out is so essential right now. Not in an angry way, but like the book, showcasing the joy and who we are as a people and walking the walk.
Yeah, I feel like myself included, many college students who are combating anti-Semitism right now can agree and like use all those skills. With that, how has writing on being Jewish now changed your relationship with your own Jewishness and like your Jewish identity?
Well, I now wear a Jewish star, which I hadn't been doing before, after reading many of the essays about people going back and wearing their Jewish stars. So that's just a small way. I haven't changed my religious observance, which was there before and it continues to be there now. But I feel an increased pride and excitement in that I've gotten to know so many more Jewish people as a result of the book. I've traveled the country and Canada and met hundreds, thousands of other Jewish people who are congregating and want to share stories and read and connect. And I have never felt so optimistic. I know we have a lot of barriers in the way, and some days it can feel so depressing. You just like don't even want to open Instagram or whatever. But when I think about all the Jewish people out there who are so smart and so good and kind and just amazing, it fills me with hope. And so that is one way that the book has deepened my relationship with my religion by deepening it with my community.
I feel like lots of people find so much serenity in their community, especially in the Jewish community at a time like this.
Yes.
How do you navigate the public conversations about Jewish identity when opinions right now are so polarized?
I know it's so hard. It's so hard. I think that unfortunately, haters are going to hate. And I think the biggest opportunity is to change the opinions of the vast majority of people who just don't really care one way or the other. So, yes, you have the two poles of extremism, but not extremism, that sounds negative, but the two poles of, this side, that side. But I think many, many people are just ambivalent or don't know enough or are afraid to speak out or not totally sure what's going on, not engaging, staying on the sidelines, maybe feeling like they want to support us but are afraid to, all of that. So I think that is where we focus our energy, one person at a time. I mean, people will come to some of the events I've done and leave and with their minds totally blown open by what our experience has been like, who we are. And even those people I know have gone on and told friends. And okay, it starts small, one group at a time. But if we all are doing that, that's what gives me goosebumps.
As a publisher, what gaps do you see in Jewish storytelling, if any, and what stories do you think still need to be told?
These are great questions. What gaps do I see? Hmm. I think there are a lot of stories about the Holocaust, as there should be. But I think that sometimes when people think about Jewish authors, Jewish books, their minds go to Holocaust literature. And I do think that that is perhaps a vast majority, not a total. I think a lot of books written by Jewish people have their are about that, and that is obviously a terrible time in our past and deserves to be written about, but there is so much more. So I think the gap is about contemporary Jewish life, not necessarily every page has to be about the Jewish experience, but I think just putting Jewish characters into the world. Like, I wrote a novel called Blank. My main character was Jewish. This is pre-October 7th. This is just because of course she was Jewish. It's my novel, and this is the protagonist, and I'm Jewish, and of course she was Jewish. It didn't even occur to me not to make her Jewish. But I think having other people see in regular literature, people lighting Shabbat candles and then going off and having the rom-coms or whatever, right? I think making it part of the experience, I think shows like Nobody Wants This are great. I know there was some controversy over that. I mean, there's controversy over everything. Nobody can agree. But just don't make it so other. I mean, it's really, we are, it's like the celebrity things in Us Weekly. Celebrities, they're just like us. Jewish people, they're just like us. I mean, let it be mainstream. Let it be understood. And I think in publishing, more first person Jewish stories are always welcome. I think people are scared to publish right now. I think a lot of places are not publishing Jewish stories I mean, I just tried to boost a post on Instagram about On Being Jewish Now hitting the bestseller list, and it was rejected as a social issue. I mean, we are up against a lot. So I try with my own tiny publishing house to publish Jewish and non-Jewish authors, but really highlighting stories, highlighting talent. I think that's another way for us to really thrive right now is talent is like a piece of the puzzle. We are all, I have to say, quite talented in many ways, not just in writing, but in so many arenas, as we all know, right? All the inventions, all the movies and books and things in the world that we put out there, and we can't stop. So I think there is room in publishing for a lot of different types of stories, and I think that people must keep writing them.
Kind of tying into that, how do you reconcile being both a literary entrepreneur and a writer? Does one role ever conflict with the other? What does that look like for you?
Oh, it conflicts on a time basis because my
Yeah.
own writing, my own writing becomes like literally the last priority. Like right now, finishing my next novel and doing my kids' school forms are tied for the bottom of the list of things that I like can't seem to make myself do. Even though, I mean, I don't love doing the forms, but I do love to write. And but for me, I view it as such a indulgence, like the way I think about like getting a massage or something like that. Like, oh yeah, that would be so nice, and I know it would be so good for me and enjoyable and da da da. Obviously, writing a novel is different, but it just feels so decadent to me to write a novel when I have 8 million things every single day that I am trying to do and trying to do better and trying to innovate and launching new things. And then I'm like, oh, my novel. So the good part is that I have a contract. I don't publish my own work. So I have an editor at another publishing house that publishes my work, and I did get basically a year extension because I decided to write On Being Jewish Now, and they were due at the same time, and I kind of thought I could do it, so I hurriedly wrote my next novel, Overheard, but it was really bad, and I handed it in, and I was like, I can't publish this. I'm really sorry. Don't even try to edit it. I'm going to start again from scratch. So I'm starting again from scratch. But yeah, I could use help with this literally every morning. It's due now September 1st. So I will get it done because I always do. And I think the extra time, I guess the answer is giving myself a little bit more space and time. Publishers in general, not us, of course, because we're perfect, but my publisher dictated the due dates as opposed to like I'd like to write a novel whenever it's the right time for me, and you can get really caught up with that. They were like, we want a book from you every year and a half, and I was like, another novel every year and a half? Like I don't think I can do that, but I didn't want to say that because I never like to say I can't do something. But now I've realized I can't do that. Not to mention I don't think there's enough of a market for books of mine every year and a half. There's so many books coming out. So I think it's finding your own way. I think, like everything, it's experimenting, fits and starts, trying your best, having to adapt. Um, but I do think it's important because I really like it, A, and B, it reminds me all the time of that I am on the other side of this as well, right? I am not so I'm in it, and I relate to the authors that I interview so much, and I relate to the authors I publish so much because, like, it's like the hair club for men, which is, of course, before your time, but it's like I'm not just the owner, I'm also a member. So that's how I feel.
And then one last question. In general, even outside of like the Jewish scope, what are the kinds of stories you find people gravitating towards today?
If you look at some of the trends and statistics and all that, people are gravitating towards romantasy, rom-coms, all this thrillers, like escapism, basically. People just want to get out of Dodge. Um, those are some of the most popular genres at the moment. That's not my favorite. Like my way to escape, my favorite way to escape is someone else's life. Like I just finished two amazing memoirs that kept me up late at night, and that's how I escape. So yes, there are the trends, but I think the trend in and of itself is escaping through words.
Awesome. So cool. Well, that's it from me. That's all the questions I have prepared, but I really appreciate you taking the time to chat. This is really amazing.
Thank
Um,
you. Thanks for interviewing me.